Hey everybody, Dan here. We are coming back with another sort of little bonus episode. Our recording sessions have been, upwards of 3 hours. This one was 4 recently, and obviously that's just not feasible to stuff all that into one episode, and we tried, and it was, there was just too much good stuff. So again, this is content that we like, that we thought was cool, that we still wanted to share, just maybe in a just nice little bite-sized format instead of a long thing. This was recorded before Deshaun Watson's Achilles injury, so you're not going to hear mention of that here during our discussion. Hope everybody is staying safe and sane out there, and we will be back very soon. So until then, take care. Dan out.
Something that I found annoying that also pisses me off.
What?
The Cleveland Browns and the whole Deshaun Watson saga.
Oh, yeah.
How they pushed all their chips into a controversial player and have got nothing out of it.
If you think about it, though, like, essentially his just complete, like, in terms of the football play, just completely falling off a cliff.
He's
like it's probably the best case scenario for the NFL out of that whole thing, because imagine if he was still really good and they had to like put him on primetime TV like multiple times and many times in a season, like
yeah, no, I don't know if that's a pill I'm willing to swallow there, because like he didn't play football for like 2 years, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Like, and guess who was? And there was people I think online. I think even the teammates they preferred Jacoby Brissett, who was his backup that played most of the season. Yep. They preferred him than that guy. That's how bad it was.
Right.
But then at the same time, Brissett, he's just a pro's pro. He knows how to play the right way and do what he's asked to do. And I mean, he's on his 9th year in the pros. He keeps him a job, man.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
But no, like, and I'm not going to go back and like watch old Deshaun Watson tape, but
I mean, I would, just to satisfy the football part of me, to be like, what could have been? Because old highlights is amazing.
Well, so he's
a world beater.
And I don't know that I necessarily totally agree with this, but, for all the shit that Bill O'Brien mostly rightly gets, it might have been just like a comment somewhere, but I thought that was kind of at least an interesting take. The guy was like, Bill O'Brien basically just set up for Deshaun the same offense that he ran at Clemson, so he could just step right in, didn't have to do a ton of like reading the defense and processing, and just kind of was able to step in and make the same throws he was making at Clemson.
Oh, that's what that was?
And he also just got to chuck the ball down the field to Will Fuller and DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh my gosh, Will Fuller. Where is he?
Way out of the league now.
Dang.
He just was injured too much.
I think he went to the Saints eventually and then like fizzled or something. I can't remember.
Will Fuller was a guy that like 4 years in a row back then I would target in fantasy every year, because I was like, that dude, if he ever stays healthy for a full season, is going to pop.
I even had him one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and I don't know that I totally buy that, because I mean, to throw for 4,700 yards, like you need to be kind of good to do that.
And plus his scrambling ability to keep plays alive. Because you seen like the Buffalo playoff game. I was reminded, like, because what is her name? She got sports or something. She does like good, like, little video essays of like, football players and stuff, like of the NFL players and stuff like that. You should check her stuff out. Okay. And she was like, showing the clips of, and like doing like the, summary of like, his greatest moments, the rise, before the fall. And she was commentating and showing the clips of that Buffalo game, and just how he was just like, he shed off like 2 like linemen or something, still like threw a dot. Yeah. Which he was doing at Clemson.
Yeah. And really, I mean, ironically for that team, they probably peaked the season that they were up 24-0 on the Chiefs, and then Mahomes was just like, hold my beer.
That's where it was like, that's when we knew this was the new Patriots.
Yep.
Like, it's just like, you played a perfect game and then you melt it down. And it only took a quarter.
I was going to say, I don't even think they needed a full quarter to do it, and then they ended up winning the game by like 20-something.
It wouldn't even. That was just like, whoops. That was just like, scratch that. Spoiler. But that just made me shake my head, especially when they got him off that punt. But this ain't about the old school Texans. This is about, an old Texan that, made a lot of wrong turns on Albuquerque.
Yeah,
and like, we're not going to get into details. We already talked about that in the live stream episode.
We got pretty deep into it then. But I think suffice to say, I think
management botched this.
Well, management, like on the Browns side, yes, and they should know better because they have a lot of smart people in their front office.
I think it goes down in history as the worst football decision ever.
Yeah,
I think
and I forgot too,
not just from gameplay, but morally.
I forgot too that it was a trade.
Yeah, it was.
It was a trade. They gave up stuff to get him, and then signed him to that contract.
And they backloaded his contract, so he only would lose out on $1 million.
Yep.
He had $1 million salary for the first year to neutralize the suspension, which people frowned upon that.
Yeah,
because that was some sleazy shit.
Yeah, and people now are like, man, can you have a $50 a year backup or $50 million a year backup?
I mean, and the thing was, and not all fans like this. I would say most fans are not like this for Cleveland. But when you start seeing fans, tailgating, and then they had a mannequin wearing a uniform or something, and then had what it looked like a stick or something under a sheet that make it look phallic, and said it's not illegal for happy endings. Yes, it is. In a lot of states, most states, if it's not Nevada, it's illegal, right? So that's a dumb take in itself. And but second of all, it devalues the victims that Deshaun was involved with.
I think it's worth noting
the hell?
that
is the most sleaziest fan supportive thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's worth noting that having a happy ending is not what he was accused of. He was accused of forcing people.
Yes.
So that is super illegal everywhere.
Yeah, and because also sex stuff, we'll get demonetized. Well, we're not getting monetized at all, but most of that stuff is illegal across the states with the exception of a few states, right? So even then, that's a dumb take within itself, because it's mostly illegal. But you went with you made the wrong point there as well. So
yeah, but we're talking about NFL fan takes. So I don't think it's a Reddit comment section level of intelligence.
But the thing is, you had it's like my wife tells me, with certain decisions, you had plenty of opportunities to stop where you were. Think of the materials you had to gather to set up that mannequin, to set up that stage and that scene and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Someone could have been halfway and been like, okay, yeah, this is very bad taste. I should probably just roll this thing back. And they didn't. That's what makes it so bad. Someone thought this through and went through it with all the many steps it took to create that scene.
But that, and not to take a left turn into just political hellscape, but genuinely that is a thing in our society now. Yeah. This brain rot bullshit where it's if I say something that upsets people, that actually makes it more okay to say. And I get you can't fix that. No. If somebody truly believes that,
you're far gone. You're too far gone.
There's no fixing that.
Yeah,
there's no coming back from that.
Yeah, I think.
And then you're just gonna be, if you're that person, then you're just gonna be estranged from your family and your friends. So,
or if not, you
kind of get the ending you deserve.
Or if you don't get estranged by your friends and family, you're going to be estranged by a lot of people that could help you like along the way in the end.
Right.
Like our friend who was on one of our previous episodes. Think about it was episode 13 because I remember like because I was thinking of like unlucky 13 or lucky 13 depending on what your perspective is. Zach told me like, hey, what gets people in trouble is like trying to make sense about people who have that type of mind rot, who are that far gone, and trying to have a gotcha moment or trying to convince people that they're wrong. You're not going to be able to do that. And that's just with anything. It ain't just like, in politics. Like, it's in sports. It's in any and everything. And that is a topic. Just look at, if you don't believe me, look at Twitter and Reddit.
Yeah. The thing about that is people who think and believe and behave like we do, we
believe like we had good parenting.
Well, yes, but like we have this naivete that like we can think and reason and like talk
and fix people
our way. Well, not just fix people, but like there's some things that everything can ultimately be reasoned, and and that's our own naivete that we've been trying to come to terms with for like 10 years now about this crap.
Right.
And it can't be reasoned with. It can't be, and it can't be fixed.
Because then you're going to end up brain rotting yourself.
And you're doing yourself a disservice by even trying.
Yeah, because you're going to wind up like getting brain rotting yourself trying to cure someone else's brain rot. Yeah. They're gone.
And in doing so, the more frustrated you get, the more you start straying away from your own ideals.
And then you start getting depressed and then you start doubting everything about yourself, like doubting some things about yourself and all that.
Yeah. And
I've been there. I'm still, I struggle with that.
Yeah. And if you let that happen, then they've won.
Yeah. It's like them living rent free in your mind.
And
you can't mess your mind up. You can't mess with that.
Yeah.
Don't even entertain that.
And not, I think we went on a bit of a tangent, but a good one.
That's a half detox right there.
It is. But I mean,
keep your head up, Tupac. There you go. Yeah.
Speaking of things that like can't be fixed, like, in
the Cleveland's offense?
Well, no. So in his case, one of the other aspects of this is that there's like new lawsuits now that are happening.
And now they're trying to get out of the money. Jimmy Haslam, you gave him the contract. So I don't know Cuss, but fuck you, man. You guys knew he was a problem and you did it anyway.
Yeah. Because
and you dumped my man, the guy who put the team on his back and was on a half hanging shoulder and played for you guys in Baker Mayfield, and you threw him away like he was yesterday's trash. So fuck you.
And he's actually having success elsewhere.
Yes, so exactly.
Good on him and bad on you.
Yeah. Like remember, people I've seen people on YouTuber channels like talking about like how Cleveland were like the lovable losers, and now they're just like
they're the unlovable losers now.
Yeah. Like no more of the days of like root for them to win so they can open up the Bud Light, the Bud Light refrigerator. That's my poetic justice, my karma.
Yeah,
and I've been loving that shit.
But so there's a couple other aspects to it. So, one, in doing that, they just completely like wrote off any goodwill they might have with like most normal decent people that aren't those brain rotted people. And I mean if I was a Browns fan, like I'm dissing
myself
because like before all that shit came out, when Deshaun was just mad about his contract and was sitting out, I was like, oh god, yeah, the Patriots should try to get him. They should bargain everything.
We weren't going to because we're too cheap.
No, we're not going to do that.
Plus, we still had a man named Brady.
Well, no, that was after Brady left. This would have been like the 2020 season, I think, or 2021.
Oh,
something like that.
But they weren't going to do that. It was the Mac Jones.
Yeah, they already drafted Mac Jones. But yeah, no, I mean, like but like say that happened, like I would have just stopped supporting the team over that. Like I genuinely don't think I could support a franchise that does that. Like,
You better than me, because I would find a way to root around them. Like I would try to do like I would try to finagle, like, I would tap dance around the team and try to root for elements of them.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I'm not a monk. Like, I would maybe reserve the right to like support the team later on when maybe he's not on the team anymore. But like, I genuinely don't like. I don't think that's a line I could cross.
Like I do find myself rooting against him, and I was a Deshaun fan.
No, we loved him.
We loved him. He was like, please protect this man at all costs.
Yeah, and like we were all like all about him, and he was like going to be the next big thing, and and he was for a while. Warwick Dunn built his mom a house, and like he had like this wholesome story, and and I mean, I was going to bring that up is like again we covered this before, but it's like if somebody 20-something different people came out and all had similar stories about him, and it's like, unless the deep state actually exists and has it out for him, like how
can you fabricate all of that? Yeah,
why would again, like Occam's razor, like what's more likely?
And then this more stuff keeps coming out. Then it's like at a certain point, where's the threshold of like when someone just stands up and just say, okay, this guy has a problem. He was going to people who were not licensed massage therapists getting massages,
probably for a reason.
That's a yellowish red flag right there.
Yes.
Like, I mean, because the thing is, I got, Derrick Henry on my mind. Him investing like it's possible. He invests 6 figures in his legs because that's his bread and butter.
Yep.
Okay, and that's why he's had the longevity and the performance he's had. Because
LeBron famously spends like $1 million a year or something on like his just entire training regimen.
Shoot, they could probably do that put that as a tax write-off.
Probably,
but it's an accessory for their job.
But and again, I mean, I think it's worth noting that like his victims are infinitely worse off because they're not going to have $230 million to retire on. And
they're going to have to like keep a very low profile as the football maniacs are out here, just maniacs. And you don't even have to like football, but like people in general, especially the way that's like looking at, how people view women. It's like, like my wife told me about this. They truly don't have a whole lot to gain. What? Just a little bit of it'll be decent, but it's gonna be peanuts compared to like the bullshit they have to deal with for the rest of their lives.
If you're actually gonna take that on and like go after a rich, powerful person, like you have I would say, low chance at a relatively small settlement, and that's about it. And I mean. Even in that case, like a settlement like that is like a one-time payment. Yep. It's not, in very rare cases is it even remotely like compensatory for what actually happened to you.
And then the trauma stays forever. Your face and your name is going to be out on the internet for everybody to see or search and target you.
Yep. And we all know how the internet is.
Yeah.
And again, I think
a person got canceled for space buns for accidentally mistakenly they call like Afro Puff space buns.
What?
And was canceled because people thought was trying to call her out for appropriation. If the internet can fuss over somebody like calling a hairstyle from Animal Crossing a different hairstyle and get ostracized for that, then there's no hope for the internet. And it comes to like reasoning or civility at times.
Yeah,
that one pisses me off.
But again, I'm trying to.
So the internet goes dirty.
Yeah.
So you're trying to what now?
No, and I'm trying to like figure an appropriate balance to this discussion because I do want to talk about him again, but I'm like, it is that I almost feel like we're doing that thing where somebody victimizes somebody else and then we talk about that person instead of, but we don't know anything about the victim, so there's really not a whole lot for us to discuss.
But the thing is, if I can say about like hope they're in a safe like a safe space, like location wise, mentally, like spiritually, all of that. And say people, hey, don't do this shit. Respect people, especially women.
Yeah.
Like, just don't be a predator.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
But yeah.
Don't be a dumbass. That's what it all comes down to.
So, but I mean, like, where he's at now, so
it's well deserved.
It's well deserved. But so, and I mean, unless they can find a way to void his contract, like I
hope they pay every cent because they deserve that.
Well, no, I hope they don't because
they don't want to give him the contract in the first place, but they knew it was a bad idea.
But
I have no love lost for Jimmy Haslam and them, man.
But no, what I'm saying is, I don't think he deserves that money because he's a terrible person.
He is. He don't deserve the money.
Not that the Browns deserve that money either, but I think I'd rather them have it than him because it's like, but you know, for him, it's like. It's pretty clear that like his teammates don't like him, the fans don't like him mostly, and he sucks now, so he doesn't even have the crazy people caping up for him anymore. So, and I mean,
he was almost 2 years away from football. Of course, he lost. It's like remember the steam that Michael Vick had before he went to prison.
Yeah,
he lost a step, but. Even then, he was still really good. But
yeah,
can you imagine?
He was incredible the year he came back.
If he never went to prison? That's a what could have been.
Yeah, and I mean, really for him, it culminated, you know, only in really that one amazing season in 2010, and then he fell off after that. But
because I think he was a guy who really felt sorry because when you have it all, and all of a sudden it's taken away. Because think about it. His name was tarnished during that time. He went to prison. He lost his spot to Matt Ryan.
Yeah,
and then so he didn't have a team or anything. So he had to start back from the bottom.
Yep.
And when something like when the whole world's your oyster, and then it's not, that changes people. Not always, but it puts things in perspective. Be like, dang, I effed up. I need to do something. I need to try something different. And I feel like that's the difference between like, and be on YouTube and like seeing like sports YouTubers talking about this. And I'll reiterate that it doesn't seem like Deshaun is remorseful. It didn't seem like he ever said he was like sorry to them, to his victims or anything like that. It's like he just wanted to just sweep it under the rug. I don't think he's ever been remorseful, or I don't think he's really learned anything. I think he's only because he got caught.
I think we're genuinely dealing with someone who, in their heart of hearts, doesn't think they did anything wrong. And again, speaking of things that you can't fix, and I mean, there's you know, and the difference is now everybody knows.
Yeah,
and everybody knows the kind of person he is.
And I relish every Sunday to see him fall flat on his face.
Right, and yeah, because of that contract, they basically just have to keep playing him and sending him out there to just absolutely stink it up every week. And I mean, again, it's like we can, you know, in like the sports media karma sense, we can be like, oh, that's what he deserves. But, you know, he is, even if he's isolated and everyone hates him, again, if they don't void his contract, he is still going to walk away from this with $230 million.
But then we can root for him to be another statistic going broke.
Yeah, it's possible.
Because think about it. He better invest that. If he does get that money, he better invest it because who's going to hire him after football?
You're right. Yeah, nobody's going to line up to put him on TV. No one's going to want his name on their used car dealership. So no one's going to want to give him a sneaker.
Yeah. So it's the long game. So sometimes people never get their comeuppance. Sometimes it's a slow burn.
Yep.
And I think, it's gonna catch up to him, man. And it's not gonna be pretty for him. So it's
already caught up to him in a lot of ways.
Here's a conspiracy theory here. Do you think like he's been getting all these QB hits and sacks because the line sucks, or because the line is doing what they did on any given Sunday with Willie Beeman? Can you imagine though? They like just be a revolving door. I'm not gonna try my hardest. Here you go. But I don't like him anyway.
I think it is fair to say, because, there's been like tons of hot takery over the years about like, the quarterback's got to be like a leader of men and all this stuff. And like, but there is some truth to that like, your best player or whatever kind of does need to in some way set the tone for the team. And if he's a sexual predator that everybody hates, then who's going to want to like follow that guy or go the extra mile for that guy, go the extra inch?
Yeah. Plus, ever since all that happened, he doesn't seem like he seems like a very bitter person. He does not seem like the same personality that we grew up watching him at Houston. It's like it's like he let that bitterness just go in, and he tripled down on that. So, I mean, also you mentioned leader of men, like probably like off the mic. I need to show you like this one guy that had sent me, a good friend of mine. He sent me a reel of two guys that were like part of that huddle with Jameis Winston doing the W, and I remember you saying, "Yeah, he's not a leader of men," and people are just like, "What the hell?" But yeah, Deshaun, like you was like a hero to me, but go f yourself. And Cleveland, I rooted for you guys, but the way y'all treated Baker Mayfield, f y'all too. And the management, y'all a bunch of idiots, and I hope y'all have y'all go in football purgatory for the next 15 years. So go f yourself. I feel like I'm like in Hit 'Em Up. Like,
gotta get my offs.
But yeah, that's the team that's grinded my gears. Like that's the if you want like a heat list, that's what grinded me, because you can tell like the bombs I'm dropping. They're my least favorite team. I like, because I want them to fail every day. I do, and because it was just mismanaged from top to bottom.
Yep. And,
historically,
he and they deserve everything they have coming.
Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, we present you like out of nowhere, like Randy Orton's RKO, my beautiful, lovely wife and awesome friend for Dan and other people that we know, Daisy. Yay!
Hi.
We gotta talk about something like special, like 100 years, like century special. Like, ain't been nobody like this guy since the Big Babe.
I
but
think
even then he's doing some stuff that Babe didn't do.
I genuinely do not think it is hyperbole at this point to say that we've just straight up never seen this before. It's not the best or the greatest or the most crazy since. It's just the best.
He's the one.
Most crazy.
The one of one?
Ever.
The one of one. Wow.
Ever.
You take this, man. I'm not a big baseball fan. I'm just saying, hey, the stats just absolutely awesome, and I'm just glad that I am on this earth to witness it.
Yeah,
we talking about our boy Shohei Ohtani. Hip hip Shohei.
So let's actually take a different tack with this. So I'm going to start by just reading you some numbers.
This is just going to be like probably like 15, 20 minutes of like just a fluff piece.
So
a well-deserved fluff piece.
Yeah. So let's just, I'm literally just going to read numbers.
Do it.
And it's going to be poetry. The year 2024. We've got
piece of strings.
We've got 9.2 wins above replacement. Now, This is not a perfect stat.
No.
But essentially what it means is if you took this player and then removed him from his team and replaced him with a league average player. So someone that is good enough to be in the big leagues and be a starter, but like not a
war beater.
Not good, not horrible.
There you go.
If you did that, his team would win 9.2 fewer games.
Wow.
So it's a stat that essentially attempts to quantify the effect a player has on winning.
Okay.
And again, I'm actually surprised it's not high. But then again, wait a minute. That is
it would be higher. Yeah.
So it's worth noting that is a player that does not play the field and is not pitching this year.
Yeah.
A 9.2 for a designated hitter is an absolutely mind-bogglingly absurd number.
Man.
Because like Mike Trout would get 10 every year in his prime, but like he also played all-star Gold Glove level defense in center field, which is a premium position. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of his value also came from that and his, 45 home runs or whatever. Anyway,
wow.
Ohtani is doing this only as a hitter this year. So he had 636 at bats. He had 197 hits, 54 home runs.
Jeez.
Without PEDs.
He hit 310, which is, very good. I do not believe that is black ink, though. No, he did not. He did not win the batting title, looks like. Did he?
In the batting title, what is that, again, like having the highest average?
Highest batting average for the year.
Okay.
He has a ton of black ink, though. He has most plate appearances, most runs, most home runs, most RBI. RBI is not really a great stat anymore, but
yeah.
But anyway,
didn't he have like some ridiculous like 10 RBIs in that Miami game?
Something like that.
They're like, let's just go home now.
But I think the key number also 59 stolen bases.
Oh my god.
What was he had a 390 OBP, so he got on base 4 out of 10 times he appeared at the plate.
Wow. Yep.
He had a 646 slug, whatever. He had a 1036 OPS, which is on base plus slugging. Mm-hmm. Slugging is total bases divided by at bats.
Oh.
He had a 190 OPS plus. So OPS plus is a stat that measures how good you are versus league average in that year. So in other words, he's literally 190% of league, or no, I guess 100 is league average. So he is literally 90% better than league average.
Wow.
As an offensive player.
Wow. And then when he was pitching, he was still doing pretty good.
And it hasn't, I don't believe it has been announced yet, but he's obviously going to unanimously win the MVP.
He needs to.
And that'll be his third in 7 years.
Oh my god.
Oh my.
Insane.
Wow.
But we're not even getting into his career
Goodness,
yet.
he's been in the league 7 years already?
Yes.
Wow.
But yeah,
Seems
we're
like he
not
just
even
got
there.
here.
Yeah, we're not even there yet.
Keep it on. Keep rapping with me. Keep rapping to us, Dan.
So I mean, just that right there. So those two things, the home runs and the stolen bases, that's what everybody's been focusing on.
No
this
one
year.
has ever done.
Literally no player ever has had 50 and 50 in a season. He almost got 50 and 60. Again, like that's the level that we're operating on here. Is this guy is doing that's never been seen before in a 150-year-old sport, and like blowing past what people have never seen before. Like,
Wow.
You better believe it.
It's again like we've never seen anything like this, and we never will again. 100%, we will not see this again in our lifetime.
Yo, think of it just like of how just how much of a gift it is that we are on this earth where this exists. That we're able to bear witness to this.
Yeah.
Our lives are, I can't speak for you, I can't speak for Case, but my life is better knowing what I've seen from this man.
Yeah.
Seeing somebody revolutionize a sport in real time is just such a gift. As a sports watcher.
This really is like that first Steph Curry MVP season.
Whoa.
Where, he was like every year he was like breaking the number of 3-point attempts in a season record. It's sort of like that. But for added context. So years ago, I used to be, around the time we started this podcast, I used to be really deep into the baseball nerd, online community.
You was a guy that before he even came into our league, you was like, hey, watch out for this guy. This is a generational talent.
Right. Yeah. People identified him pretty early when he was playing in Japan, where it's like, holy crap, this guy hits home runs and has 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
How many Japanese players have we seen? Okay, this is a phenom here. They come in, then they start out good, and then they kind of dip to average.
Sometimes it depends. There's been.
Ichiro was that dude.
Yeah, Ichiro was
Matsui
101
for a while. Matsui was
very good.
Was good.
Matsuzawa Daisuke was quite good. His first few years
until people figure out how to hit him.
Right. Yeah, and he also just could never stop nibbling.
Don't forget Yu Darvish.
Yu Darvish
now that guy,
good,
he done gone
he fell off. Yeah.
He fell off to mid, and somehow still gets work. So good for him. So, but yeah, it varies, but in general, they're good to great. This is the greatest to ever come from Japan,
and so
ever, yeah.
So he came in, and I can't remember the total, but basically he played in Japan. He was super young. He was 23. Hey. And he, again, there were all these highlights going around of, again, him hitting home runs and throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs in the same game. And it was this is a creative player. This is not a real person. This is some kid spun the dials in MLB The Show 2005, and this came out.
Yep. A cheat code, if you will.
Literally, yeah. And so, and then he came over and he signed with the Angels.
That feels like an era ago.
It does. Yeah. No, and I mean, they were oh my God, we got one of the most exciting prospects ever to pair with prime Mike Trout.
They had him and Trout, and they didn't make a single playoff series.
Nope. Because the rest of the team was just so bad. And again, think about that. So here is two guys, and in fairness, Ohtani's first few years, it was kind of fits and starts, because essentially what they would do is they would pitch him and then not play him. I think the day he pitched, obviously he wouldn't play as a hitter because it was an American League team that had the designated hitter.
Yeah, but then they changed the rule later.
And then he would play designated hitter a couple of games a week, basically, or a 3 or 4 games a week. And that's so his first couple of years, he was still very good as a hitter and as a pitcher. 22 home runs, 18 home runs, but he was it was more like Deion Sanders' career, where he was sort of limited in the number of games he was going to play.
Oh, okay.
Or I'm trying to think of other examples.
Deion Sanders, who played football and baseball in the same year.
Yeah.
Man.
And if you think about it, the difference, how different pitching and hitting is for your body, it really is like playing 2 different sports. So he is essentially a 2-sport athlete. If you think about just what mechanically your body has to do those 2 things at an elite level.
What if he can't pitch? What if he can't pitch effective like he used to? Would that obviously how much of a knock would that be on him as a player, or the mystique of him? Not much, I guess.
Well, that we still don't know yet.
Yeah. I don't think it should matter, because just seeing him at bat, man, it's just magical, bro. Yeah. That swing is a work of art.
And it is a little weird, because I am not remembering all the particulars now, because I'm seeing a 1-year gap in his pitching. So I think he actually had like another major injury. Maybe it was Tommy John or something that stopped him from pitching in 19. But he did come over and was like good. But it was already starting. The narrative was starting to develop with him. It's like, oh, well, if he can ever sort of like be fully healthy and sort of fully unlocked, maybe what could he do? And it was what? It was the, it would have been the 2021 season. I forget the particulars of this, but it was like at some point they changed the rules. They basically made an exception for him where he could pitch and like hit the same game and do all of that. That's when
you're like something special. When you literally change the game.
Yeah. Literally.
He literally changed the game.
Yeah.
People say, oh, this guy changed the game and stuff. Like LeBron and Michael Jordan and stuff like that. Yeah, they're operating within the rules. This guy literally made them make a new rule for him and can pave the way for others. That's truly changing the game. And that should not be understated. That is just sheer 1,000% awesomeness.
Yep. And so that season, the 21 season, he was like fully unlocked and 46 home runs. He hit that's actually interesting. He's gotten way better as like a hitting for average. He was 257 that year compared to 310 this year.
Was he like Javier Baez, like home run or bust?
Sort of. Although he definitely just hit the ball hard everywhere all the time. Like he had similar like ball speed stats to like Aaron Judge.
Wow.
But then that season, he also, just casually put up I'm trying to see where the regular ERA is. He put up a 3.18 ERA as a pitcher starting 23 games.
That's pretty good.
And had 156 strikeouts, which is a ton for that number of games.
He wasn't playing. When he pitches, he is pretty damn good.
Yeah. And then, and so again, like it's just like we've just never seen this before. And obviously he won the MVP, like going away. And then from that point on, he's just continued to do it.
Like he's playing with his hair on fire
on an absolutely garbage team alongside Mike Trout, who I think is having his career basically derailed by injuries now. It's a shame because like Trout was on a trajectory to be maybe the greatest player who ever lived.
Moral of the story: never play for the Angels; they will ruin your career.
Never get injured a bunch.
Never play for the Angels.
Yeah,
they will go nowhere.
But it's like, the thing with Ohtani too is like, again, like, I've said this before, but like, particularly with pitching, we've just reached the limits of like what the human body can literally physically do. And you know this better than anyone as someone who like was in the medical field and knows a lot about human physiology and stuff. Like
not to that level.
You can work out and you can get like super jacked and like your muscles get bigger and stronger and all that stuff. But like literally your tendons just are what they are. You can't make your tendons bigger or stronger. They just are. And if they break or snap or rip, they just have to be repaired. And then like, you know what I mean? Like you can't, pitching, particularly just throwing a baseball 100 miles an hour, just puts an absurd amount of stress on your shoulder and on your elbow, particularly.
Repetitive stress is like not, if it's like you might be fine for the 556th time, but that 557th could be the one that do it.
Yeah,
you just don't know.
And Jeff Passan, who's probably one of the best MLB writers out there right now, wrote a book about this a few years ago called The Arm. So if you're interested more in that specific topic, that is a very, very good book.
I'm down for that.
And he covers like he covers a bunch of different pitchers going through Tommy John surgery and rehab at like different stages of their careers.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, it's
down.
like on Kindle and shit if you want to read it.
Nice.
But so in Ohtani's case, he already had that other significant injury earlier in his career that had made everybody go, "Oh, okay, we know."
Yeah.
But then, here he is winning MVPs and
just from hitting.
Well, no, from hitting and pitching the first few years.
This year, yeah.
And then last year, it's actually funny. So he became a free agent, and then signed that again. Like
signed with the enemy.
And again, I guess when you're literally Shohei Ohtani, you just have this kind of leverage. But he basically got a Bobby Bonilla contract where he got, and again, just the number.
Yo, happy Shohei Day.
10 years.
I like that. That's got a ring to it.
10 years, $700 million. He is a $700 million player. And again, like for comparison, like I think Mike Trout's big contract that he signed was, I think, 10 and 400-ish.
Yep.
So, that's the level we're operating on here.
Plus, I don't think anyone has the skill set to like reach that level of contract.
No. But that's the other thing.
Like, I don't think they're gonna reach like Shohei's level, man.
But like,
who does that? Who can?
But like, detail came out about the contract, and basically he's deferring most of the money. So it's something like he's like playing on a salary of like $1 million a year.
Shohei,
and
man.
so the Dodgers can go and bring in a bunch of other good players, and he can win. He's still going to get his money because baseball contracts are fully guaranteed. But the Dodgers are just, the Dodgers are going to be paying him basically until the end of time.
Paying him peanuts until until he retires. So and that's when the big bucks come in, right?
Well, yeah. So I don't know the particulars of it, but basically a ton of the money is deferred. So again, like when he's retired and whatever, he's going to have tons of money coming in. So it's incredibly savvy from that perspective too.
Dude is smart, man.
And like he had the gambling scandal where his I think personal translator was involved in some really shady stuff, and seems like more or less it's pretty clear that he wasn't actually involved. That it was just this guy, and he, this guy basically took advantage of him.
It's one thing if it's the agent, but like a translator. Man, do you realize he can get another one of you?
Yeah.
Come on, man. An agent is one thing. I mean, yeah, you can get replaced by an agent, but that's much harder to do than a translator. Do you think of the people that are dying to be like Shohei's translator?
Yeah. That'd be a pretty sweek gig.
It would be.
Get to watch him play every day.
Yeah. I want to see Shohei learn get proficient with English as a second language and him do a rap song or something.
Yeah. That's the other thing is he doesn't speak English either. So he's the most famous baseball man in the world maybe ever.
I just want him to learn some English and trash talk. Now that would be hilarious.
He's probably for the best that he doesn't. He's in the trouble of saying something accidentally or.
He would get away with bloody murder. What were you saying, Mayor?
He's too classy for that.
He is too classy for that.
Yeah.
But it avoids a lot of the drama you see from press conferences by him just being like, nope, I don't speak this language, so whatever.
I would just think it would be funny as hell though. Just limited English to this guy just talking to you.
I think it's even funnier if he's just talking to you in Japanese and you don't know what he's saying.
That's okay. I take it back. Yeah, you're right. That would be funnier.
And and so that's sort of the context going into this season is that he signed that crazy contract, and then it came out, and I can't remember the order in which these things happened, but
somehow the Dodgers got him.
It also came out that it was weird the way it came out where they wouldn't say specifically what his injury was or what surgery he got, but it's pretty obvious that he got Tommy John surgery.
Has he already
because
had a Tommy
like
John?
Immediately, yeah, I want to say that's his second one.
Yeah,
So that's a concern. But
yeah, that is.
But it's funny, right? Because like it came out and because they were immediately like, oh yeah, he's not going to pitch next season, but he, because of the nature of the surgery and the difference between pitching and hitting, he'll be able to still play designated hitter. And everyone's like, there's tons of consternation, like think pieces about how, man, it just sucks that like the sport and the the commonality of injuries to pitchers is like undoing this incredible talent at the peak of his powers.
But then he played blue.
And so everybody was like, very muted about him coming into this season. And he just kind of decided,
Yeah, wait a minute.
like, not like I'm going to be the best hitter in baseball. Oh, yeah. And just because I can, I'm just also going to be the best base runner in baseball. Which is, that's like an underrated skill, I think, is to provide extra value on the base pass after you're already on base.
What's the most steals in a season?
I actually don't know.
It can't be too far off.
It's a ton.
Like what, 63 or something? Or actually, it might be 70.
138.
What was it in like 1908?
1887. So yeah.
I think the level of competition is a little bit different now.
Shit, that is an incredible nickname. Oh, Ricky Henderson had 130 in 1982. There you go. That's a modern example. Yeah. So Ohtani's amazing. And again, like we're just, we've never seen this before. We have no frame of reference for this. And we're about to see him play in the playoffs for, I think, the first time.
I actually want like the probably like the favorite to actually win it all. Like in like the Dodgers like the favorite this year.
I don't know. I'm not paying much attention.
But I would say anything with Shohei and the squad they got. I think they have a chance.
Yeah, they were very good this year. From what I remember, but yeah. Anyways,
so yeah, Shohei, we don't deserve you, but thanks for being a gift in our lives and baseball and sports watchers and even non-sports watchers. Like you turned my wife's head, and she was like, "Wow."